Hello and welcome to another video on my C# Basic series here. As always, go ahead and follow me on GitHub, visit my website and email me if you have any questions and stuff. Now, this video, I'm talking about a very, it's kind of a simple topic for me, but it can get into lengthy discussions when you're coding and things like that. Now, and that topic is variable scope, So here, I think I'm going to bring up my Paint software so I can draw something. So now, whenever you write a project, you have your project namespace. A namespace is the entire area of your project. Now, inside the namespace, things have to be unique. Class names, interface names, stuff like that. That also applies to variables, obviously. Now, the way it works is, so let's say you have your namespace, which is your entire project. And then you have a class here, okay? And let's say you have another class here. Now, suppose in your namespace, which is the big area, the black color area, you have a variable called hello. Now, this hello variable scope means where is it visible, where is it visible. So hello is declared in the main namespace, so it is available here and it is also available here, which also means because names have to be unique, you cannot have hello inside your class here or inside your class here because the scope is already spreading everywhere. It's like a hierarchy from the top to bottom. Now imagine a scenario where you have a variable called car here. Now this car is inside the class, so the scope is limited only to this much, which means if you want to, you can create another variable called car in another class, and that will not affect the car here. These two things, although they have the same name, they will be different because their scope is limited to the class, to the code block they are being declared. So this is in a very simple way what scope is. Now, you can get into lengthy discussions about this, how to scope, I want to use the same name twice and things like that. That's really, really your call. You can play around and get risky with scope, and there may be legitimate reasons where you don't have a choice but to use the same names all the time. Now, for me personally, let's get out of this one. So for me personally, again, there's nothing Visual Studio Code to show. This is more like a theoretical concept. So what I do in my projects is, as much as possible, unless there is a real reason for it, okay? That is why you have things like inheritance and stuff like that, where if you are going to reuse something, why would you want to do it as separate? You can just use inheritance and reuse the existing things if they are of the same type and things like that. So for me personally, when we talk about scope and things like that, if you have a legitimate reason and if you're already experienced enough, now this is something which comes with experience. Like the more you code, the more you work, the more experience you gain as a developer, you will know when you can, defining the scope, understand the limits of it, what to do where and things like that. But until that happens for your beginner projects, it's not that hard. The easiest way to avoid conflicts, the problem happens with scope is, like I said, let me go back to my Paint here, right? Let me bring up Paint again. So what happens is, now again, this drawing, right? You have a car. Now let's say you have another class, let's say, let me take another color. Okay. Purple. Yeah. So let's say you have another class and you are using the car property. Now, when you say car here, now there is always some ambiguity like, hey, are you talking about the car from this class or are you talking about the car from this class? So there will be some ambiguity. Now, again, namespaces and scopes will make it easy for you to decide which car are you talking about. So there will be some confusion there, which can lead to some unnecessary errors. Now, nobody's stopping you from doing this. If you feel that, again, like I said, legitimate, then go for it. But otherwise, I always believe, just to make my life less complicated during the coding part. I just go ahead and use unique names. So that's one way to solve. So if your project really needs the same name to be used in different scopes, in different contexts, then go for it. That's really your call. But otherwise, what I like to do is I like to just go ahead and use unique names to avoid the whole confusion between scope conflicts and stuff like that. Now again, like I said, scope is a big topic. I may not be the guy to discuss scope. I'm sure there are a lot of other tutorials, but as far as I'm concerned, scope, as I mentioned in this simple drawing I did, scope is always start from the top and trickles down to the bottom levels. And then of course you can, within a specific code block like class or function or if else or for loop, the scope is limited to that part. And of course when you're using it in other places, you may have to decide, you may have to resolve the ambiguity when it comes from similar names and stuff like that. But that's not a problem because C# has very good namespace capabilities, so shouldn't be a problem when you're writing code and things like that. So that is all I'm going to say about scope. Again, it's a very extensive, one of those advanced concept things, so you will learn naturally. But as of now, for the time being, for our beginner classes, just remember to use unique names and your problems, most of them will automatically resolve themselves and you can be happy with it. But yes, as a word of caution, so go ahead, I'm not the right person to discuss scope here. Try to get it from some more advanced YouTube tutorial or some other article and stuff like that. So that's all there is to it. Like I said, this one is a quick video, just a little bit of a theory discussion, nothing to show or type here. So scope is really just scope of where variables are, created and used and things like that. So there you go. Thank you very much.